difference. I get my pop filters from sweetwater.com. This is Paul Harvey. Good day. Difference. Well, I almost had a time paradox there. I had the broadcast open in another window. I got a bum toe, and I had to go to the. It hurt so bad I couldn't go to sleep, so I went to the. And I ripped off my toenail. I do this every couple of months, and the doctor said, "Hey, um, this is crazy person shit. Like, stop it." Pretty much. She fussed at me 3 times for getting rid of my toenail. And I said, well, I don't think my insurance covers podiatry. And she's like, what insurance do you have? I told her. And she's like, yeah, we cover that here in New Orleans. But in Southwest Louisiana, I've gotten so used to uh, not getting, like, it's all uh, non Medicaid. So it looks like I'm going to get my bum toe fixed. Good morning, everybody. Let me pull up the chat here. It's Monday the 22nd. Janet from another planet. Good morning. Barb, good morning. No, that's not really my foot. That's an AI drawing. I said to the AI, I was like, hey, why don't you draw me a big bum toe walking through the valley of death? And that's what it came up with. So, um, yeah, that was what that was. And it's got a strawberry in it for some unknown weird reason. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Sophia. Good morning, Lorna. Good morning, dead girl in the next room over. We had our friendly neighborhood Imani, who was a guest on a radio show that I do on Thursdays, and I told her she'd never allowed back because on the air, she's she started talking like she had some kind of agency, and I needed to pay her a lot of money. I don't know if she was doing it as a joke, uh, but she was she kept acting that way. I had to mute her. It's like she took on a whole nother personality. She said that her diagnosis is schizophrenia, but there's plenty of stuff I'd love to talk to her about. She's a very intelligent individual and extremely talented and creative. Holy shit, super creative. Good morning, Tim. Good morning, Tammy. Good morning, Tammy. Mm. Oh man. So I use some GPT magic to sort of guide my broadcast today. Um, I'm a little tired, and like I said, I got a bum toe, and I thought that I was gonna be able to get pieces of it out, but I dug a little deep this time. So I got the whole toenail off, but there's pieces of toenail stuck down deep. I have an omega toenail. This is a real thing. Uh, omega toenail. Let's pull this up. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like a U shape. Uh, either you or someone you know, or maybe you already know what an omega toenail is. Oh Lord, yeah, this is probably the most extreme example of an omega toenail. I'm not even gonna blow it up because I've eaten. Um, so hopefully, yeah, I get that fixed pretty soon. They said I should get a call by Wednesday, but to call today, and I already called. And when I called this morning, it was 9:15, and Imani knocked on the door and until 9:30, and then I let her in, and then I finished my phone call, and then I was like, I got to do a broadcast, and she's like, I'll come back at noon, and she started talking like a British person, and yeah, sorry, Lisa. Hey, I got a bum toe. Um, Look, I don't know what to put for the topics right now with everything going on in the world today. I mean, honestly, there's way crazy stuff going on in the world. Um, but there are many worlds. This is just but one. Um, and yeah, like I like to keep it copacetic and cool and chill and safe. Sound is quiet. Okay. I can, I mean, I can get up on the mic like that. Comme ça. I was listening to this just before, and I haven't even like vetted this, so I'll only play a little bit. Let's see. I have some recordings of me and Doug, which would be under media player. Yeah, probably media player.
Man, in terms of like breaking down the tech and maybe doing something worthwhile, I fucking loved it, dude.
Well, I don't know if it's per just
Speak it.
timing, but
Speak it.
Like when we've had, I looked at the playlist. It's 14 episodes.
We have 14 episodes together.
Yeah, and
no way.
What I noticed timing wise is when we started doing a program like with like elements and like a show or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's the intro and
outro. Kramer? I gotta confirm that we have 14. Yeah, please, I'm listening.
Yeah, that's a format people are used to, and it's like a television format almost. And the elements that I got from Alex that were donated to everybody, which I don't have access to anymore for some reason.
Probably Alex is doing.
Yeah, I know it is because I got the link from him, and when I went to check the pin and look and see if I could grab any.
He said the word gal.
Okay. All right. So, that was somewhere around the time we were doing Backflash, and I guess what we were talking about, I was listening to before the broadcast, was the branding, the SPTV branding, the logo. I can actually, I have it right here. When all these assets came through, they were donated. We got them from Alex, and not everyone chose the same one. Here's the logo. But that's that's like the finished vector image. I don't know if you know what that means, but like you can scale that. You can put it in all kinds of stuff, enriched media. And there was like 33 items that some pretty decent graphic artists created. And we were talking about the ones that we grabbed and the implementation of it into rich media through the show. And it's like everyone latched on to the MTV style logo. But I really liked this, the little Xenu. So I grabbed that because I can use it in rich media. I mean, this isn't the original, whatchamacallit, image. I used the vector image to make that little animation. A little hypnotic animation. Wow, wow, wow. Good morning, Nikorasu. Good morning, everyone. We're in your world now. That's right. This is our little space we sharing. Welcome to the studio. There's a sign that I need to put on my front door. It says no bullshit. No bullshit. But up above the door, it says, the desire and the will must be stronger than the skill. I believe that's what it says on top of my door going into the studio. The desire and the will must be stronger than the skill. Lorna, Amazon sent my bottle of aspirin to Miami, and I'm in Oregon, so I have a headache. Joints are ache. I had to take an ibuprofen 800 to get the edge off of the toe, be able to go to sleep. I can't overstate how excited I am to go to a podiatrist. Would have been my birthday yesterday, except I don't do birthdays anymore because I'm going to stay 42 for a while. Probably for at least 81, if I make it that long. So today, even though it's my big toe, I have something to go with. Focus on personal experience. Instead of delving into the internal disputes within the ex-Scientology community, highlight personal stories and experiences of individuals who have left Scientology. Well, there is someone who's in chat right now who has some personal stories and started sharing. And I would really love it if y'all would go listen to her. And there's also a podcast that she did. Here is the, okay, make sure I see. I need more. You know what I need more of in my life? More screens to make my eyeballs just. It's like having a laser in your freaking face. That's why I wear the blue block glasses. This is an interview on Tony Ortega's YouTube, and I will link it in the chat. There it is, and that is Tammy Sinovec's Scientology saga on Tony Ortega's YouTube. So I encourage you to listen to that because it's. I'm not saying it's new. So it's a story that goes back a long way. And I've just thought of this. She was Doug's ethics officer at one point. There is a lot with everybody's story, there's much to learn. So, highlighting personal stories, this can help humanize the discussion and create empathy. It says among the audience, but I would say for each other as well, which is very important. Okay, how do I proceed from here, oh great Chat GPT? What's going on? How do you mistake Florida for Oregon? Is that what happened? That sucks. There you go, Nick. OG, man. Volcanology. Live long and prosper. Oops. Okay. So, okay. I've got multiple points here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. So, personal experiences. Yeah, some of the newest stuff would be the protests in LA, but also new and relevant and worth listening to is anything you find on Tammy Sinovic. Check that out. There will be more of her story coming out and how she tells it. She's going through the process of doing it, and it's not easy. You know? So, and it's really not easy whenever there's never a good time to step in, and be like, hey, here's my story. When it's like, oh, they're not, okay, I don't know what to make of any of it, but I got a story. Like it says, focus on personal experiences instead of delving into internal dispute. I mean, that seems common sense, but there is a thing, I think, such as uncommon sense, which would be, a different sense. Let's see. If you have any Alka-Seltzer around, that's got aspirin in it. Oh, so you don't have any aspirin. That sucks. Barb, at Tammy, I watched your interview with Tony. It was compelling and heartbreaking. Well, in a hug. There's scratching the surface there. So, like I said, anything Tammy Sinovic is new and will be more along the lines of, creating empathy, humanizing the discussions that we have and create more empathy amongst each other and the audience. Explore common ground. Identify shared concerns or experiences that members of the ex-Scientology community may have. Okay, I got one. A lot of ex-Scientology members, regardless of public staff or Sea Org or INT, don't go and seek help and get some therapy. That's a concern I have. I clearly understand the aversion to psychology and psychiatry coming from this group. And Steve Hassan has commented on the unfortunate aspect or after effect of leaving Scientology is the aversion to psychology and psychiatry and even medical care. My bum toe, I mean, I've been ripping this thing out for 10 years. I probably could have gotten it fixed 3 years ago, but I didn't even think I would have had to have gotten a referral like I did last night through a hospital. So I didn't really want to go to a hospital. I just waited until it got bad enough to was like, I can't even sleep. So medical care, um, and personal mental health, like these are concerns that I have with the community. If we're talking about Scientology, sometimes we talk about that here. Um, because I was a Scientologist, a staff member, but I wasn't Sea Org. If that makes any difference, as if that makes any difference. Um, okay, this can help humanize. All right, yeah, explore common ground. Identify shared concerns. Um, Discussing common ground can help bring people together and build bridges. Well, that's funny because Scientology bridge, but fostering a sense of unity despite differences. Well, we'll see. You know, um, that's the ultimate goal. Like, because whenever people can stand together, whatever thing they're up against has no chance. Um, Tammy, thanks for the love, friend. I'm feeling it. I'm in the process of telling my story on Rachel Bernstein's podcast, Indoctrination. So, let me get a link for that too, because that's how you'll get some more of the story. I forgot the name, so let's see, Tammy Sinovic. Let's see, Indoctrination. Rachel Bernstein. So this is going to be available on Apple Podcasts. I'm assuming it's going to be on the podcast. And then there's Podpage. Let me just throw the link for both of these in the chat. I'm telling you, this is what you should be listening to, is the stories. There's a signal to noise ratio in audio that I find applies to media. The signal to noise ratio is a measure used in science and engineering that compares the level of a desired signal to the level of background noise. So, let me get audio nerdy on you. Right, there's the full page. So, signal to noise ratio. So, you got received signal, you have a background noise, which is called the noise floor. And when the noise floor gets above the received signal, you don't get the signal. Comprend? Pretty easy to understand. See, I made that fun, simple, quick, and easy, like ripping off a Band-Aid. Signal to noise ratio. And it applies in media. So if you grew up in any era in the last 4 decades, you know what television is. And during certain periods of time, even like it goes on a local basis, a state basis, and a federal basis, when things are going on, you'll notice on the television that the noise floor, if you count advertising as noise, which I do most of the time, you'll see political noise rising at certain periods, like around elections. And then the signal whatever programming you're watching, it gets kind of interrupted. There's a lot of noise going on, and in some cases, like say late at night or early in the morning, you'll see even more. You'll get so much noise that it's like, what? Just turn the damn thing off. Or can't hear what you can't focus on what you're trying to focus on. The noise is so high that you keep thinking, oh, who's running for district attorney, or who's running for state representative, or who's running for president. It's a political comparison, and it's a media comparison to the audio engineering, which is used in science and engineering as well. Because I'm an audio engineer, but I have no engineering background per se, like professional engineering background. But this is applicable to media. So something to keep in mind, the signal to noise ratio. You can control that yourself, which is great. I'm very, what would it be? Liberal, I guess. Like I'd rather have less signal and less noise than some signal and a lot of noise. But that's just my personal preference. It allows you time to sort of think, because noise is distracting. Let's see here. Educate about Scientology. Provide factual information on Scientology, its beliefs and practices. This can help your audience better understand the context and challenges faced by those who leave the church. Avoid sensationalism and focus on accuracy. So, absolute nuts and bolts, that's what I should do. Tony Ortega was quoted saying, I loved Doug. What was it? It was in Doug's. If I just Google Doug Kramer, it'll probably be Tony's thing that comes up first. Well, I probably should do Douglas Scott Kramer, huh? Okay, that's Reddit. Yeah, let's see, Tony Ortega. Getting a lot of free advertising, Tony. Okay, is it already buried? Jesus. Underground bunker? This is it. Continue reading. Alright, so... Control F. Alright, so that's not it. I need to find where he quoted it. But he said that he liked Backflash because it got into the absolute nuts and bolts of Scientology. So I feel like there has been some education already administered and is there waiting for anyone who cares to see it. And it would be in this one. This is a playlist I'm going to link. I'm going to link some playlists. How do I grab the link for the playlist? This should be it. That was 9 months ago. So there's that. That's selling Scientology, how it is sold. Here is the total bridge to amnesia, which was 5 broadcasts. I know I'm terrible at this. Total bridge to amnesia. It's actually the bridge to total amnesia, but whatever. And we did the Masterson. We did some Masterson trial broadcasts, and I think this video was up at the time. This was one of the videos of the many that I uploaded recently. That Doug was like, "Dude, you gotta upload that shit, man. Fuck." So that one is the Masterson trial. And in there's a lot of education about Scientology, beliefs, practices. We go into the TRs and objectives. We go into the CALM formula, how someone is, sold Scientology initially. There's a lot of good education in there. And even Tony Ortega, the master of all of the keeper of the tech and all the stories, he appreciated that show, saying, quote, "They got into the absolute nuts and bolts of Scientology." And I think that's pretty good praise. So worth your time, worth me bringing up, worth the links for you to bookmark. If you've already seen them, and you find someone else that hasn't and is interested in this topic, it'd be a good thing to link them. All right. So promote dialogue. All right. Encourage open and respectful dialogue. Highlight the importance of understanding diverse perspectives within the community without necessarily endorsing or criticizing viewpoints. That's a loaded word in Scientology, but it's a real word. Facilitate conversations that promote mutual respect. So yeah, the floor is open if anyone has anything to say. Tammy's arrived at work. Always good to hear your voice. I find it comforting. Looking forward to coming on your podcast for long form chat. Our stories contain many of the same characters. Oh, man. Me too. Me too. That'll be some dialogue I'm really interested in. It's 13 years, if I'm not mistaken, Tammy was involved. I don't know how many years of that she was on staff. But you see, I did 2 years on staff, but I remained a Scientologist in my mind. It's like Lawrence, the guy who did Going Clear, said, the prison of belief, or the guy who wrote the book, The Prison of Belief. So I was in for 2 years, left in a pretty dramatic fashion, and remained a Scientologist in my head in the prison of belief for 8 years. Let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5, 6, 7 to 8 years. No, we're going to break it up, Sophia. And there's no rush either. Because she's doing what I love about the way that she's going about it is she's done her interview with Tony. She's done a podcast with Tony. She's going on with Rachel Bernstein on her official podcast. And here, we can't, it'll be long. It'll be probably 2 hours. That's generally the amount of time Like I can sit without needing to get up and go walk around and go to the bathroom and get some water or whatever. But we'll go through the whole timeline, well, or however much of it she's willing to. But I have most of what she has as far as timeline. And yeah, it's like 13 years. There's a lot to go over. And I'm in no hurry because I'm all about promoting the dialogue. Where are you at, Lorna, where people are rude? Barb, I consume all the stories I can find, and I'm reading all the books I can find, and I'm continually surprised at how deep Scientology goes. Yeah. And that's the important. I agree with the AI. The important part. Now, I did prompt it because this is my fucking space. Y'all are welcome here, and this is your space too. But what it is not is a place to talk shit. No bullshit on the door. No bullshit. Everyone's trying to survive and heal. And, where is it? Humanize people. Create empathy. Because we're all human beings. We're all going to have our own opinions anyway. We're all going to have the people we like and we don't like. There's no need to mob up and posse up and pounce on somebody else. There's no need for that. Nick Urasu, Scientology is still an unfolding story, so it's just going to get more deep over time. Absolutely. The climb to the bottom. Sophia, Scientology really is a never-ending horror story. They got all the elements. Definitely have all the elements. Never-ending? I don't know. I like the analogy climb to the bottom. I mean, I did write a song called Climb to the Bottom, but it was because I was so inspired by the idea of this never-ending loop where you're climbing and you're putting out tremendous effort just to arrive at the bottom every time. That is what, hey, Laura, good morning. 1,000,000% love you. Pink square or peach square, orange heart, daps. Hey, I got a laser light show for you, Laura. There we go. Woo! Check it out. I'm blinding you with science. It's a laser beam. It's good to see you. Good morning. I don't know what time it is where you're at. Humanize the discussion, create empathy. Yeah. That's what I want to do in this space. No bullshit on the door. Tell the stories, explore common ground, identify shared concerns, which I already shared a concern about. And this goes for not just ex-Scientologists. It goes for not just religious groups, because my family and the culture of my family before Scientology, there are people in domestic situations that are just as horrific. They're different. They're not the same. No, you can't say. Trauma is not necessarily trauma. you can compare traumas. People do it all the time. You ever meet somebody who you tell a story to, or like, somehow or another, a conversation comes to a point where like, oh, I fell off a roof one time, something like that. And like, oh man, that reminds me of the time I broke my leg. And then somebody else is like, oh yeah, well, I got, that's comparing trauma. So it's like, if you look at it like that, it just at face value, doesn't that seem silly? Like that one person's missing the point. So, the shit, I'm high. So it doesn't matter where you came from. We come from France. We come from France. Zenu. Live long and prosper. That was my old sign off back into Dizay. So, this is actually great. So, exploring common ground, identify shared concerns or experiences that members of the community may have. And one of my concerns is, the lack of, and I hated this word myself. I still cringe sometimes, and I had to make up a new word for it so that it doesn't make me cringe every time someone tells me self-care. What does that even mean? Not only as an ex-Scientologist, but as a, kid who the invisible kid who no one ever really wanted. Well, at least one person didn't want, but was paraded around like it was someone they did, but treated the kid like shit. So, in other words, make it look like you're okay with this child being born and that you're okay with it being your son. And you put on a big show for everybody involved with the family and all that. But disconnect them from their real family and treat them like shit when you are, alone with them, when you got them alone. A typical abuser pattern. So, not just coming out of Scientology, but in any kind of situation, trauma. And I've met plenty of people through doing this kind of broadcasting who have very similar stories, very different backgrounds. It's a universal thing. Good morning. Hell yeah. West of Salem. Laura, did you get bit by the dog? Yeah, a nip. Damn. That's crazy. So you're in LA. For some reason, I thought you were somewhere up in North Midwest. Why the hell would I think that? I gotta ask, did you have fun at the protest? Did it just feel nasty? Because I gotta say, when I drive by the Baton Rouge org, and there's never anyone there, but there's this eerie fucking feeling that I get every time, because of the memories I have from that area. The testing center is kind of a neutral ground for me because I used to go over there and stand by the fence and sell books because it was sort of like a friendly island, so to speak, on that street. Standing in front of Grauman's or walking up and down Hollywood is where I got spit on for being a Scientologist, just for carrying a Dianetics book. Someone was like, spit on me. Fucking Scientologist. Good morning. Oh, that's Bilf. CO Bilf. Good morning. Um, Lorna, I was on staff in Palo Alto, signed a 2-year contract and broke it after a year, but I routed out properly and stayed friendly for a couple more years after that. Then me and my Scientology husband split. Well, do you have a webcam? That sounded fucked up. No, I mean, seriously, there's no. This is a. If there's anyone who needs a platform to come talk or wants to come talk about their staff shit or their experience, I'm all ears. I try to keep it chill, and now that I can kind of operate my stuff here, it's pretty chill for me. And it should be pretty chill for anyone else because, like, I can provide a link to a browser based broadcast green room, essentially, kind of like StreamYard. And it's just a link, password protected. And then I can put you into, get ready, it's going to create a time paradox. I can put you, time paradox. I can put you in this control room. So, as you can see here, these are all the elements for all the broadcasts that I do. Wow, wow, wow. Time paradox. And yeah, you just click a link and then webcam. I control the audio from this end and I can stick you in the frame, whatever. Total, okay, got an answer here. Total mixed feelings, but always feels so good and so great to protest Scientology. Like if I tried to do one here, I'd probably it's probably would end up like Alex's, where it was a lot of non-Scientologists supporting. Like I could probably do one in Baton Rouge, but I don't know like what the point would be. There's not even anyone there. There's only 1 or 2 cars there at any given time. But when I go, sometimes I do stop, like on my way to see the kids, and I'll stop just to see if the door is open. It's been locked the last 2 times during business hours. So, and the last time I went inside, there was nobody in there, and I was greeted by a Sea Org member who popped out of the wall. It looked like that. It was just they were coming out of a hallway, and they were, "Can I help you?" And he was doing this thing, Laura. I know you know what I'm talking about. Where it's like, this is an SP, and I'm gonna handle this person as such. So there's like acknowledgments, hard stops, constant acknowledgement, hard stop, and then TR3s. You know, can I help you with something? Is there something that you need? Are you in the right place? Because they're not trying to sell me Scientology. They know I'm an SP, so they're just trying to confront the situation and without getting into any sort of legal altercation, get the body out of the building. So, Tone 40 or 8C, that thing out of here. That thing, that SP. That poor degraded being that will never have spiritual freedom. Whatever. So, okay, I covered the educate about Scientology. I dropped the links for Backflash and for Tammy Sinovac. Promote dialogue, read that, but encourage open and respectful dialogue. Highlight the importance of understanding diverse perspectives within the community without necessarily endorsing or criticizing specific viewpoints. Facilitate conversations that promote mutual respect. Yeah. CO Bill, only Scientology thing in my state is a mission in an industrial building with no foot traffic. I thought about doing a protest as kind of a joke to show SPs are everywhere, but it's a schlep. Lorna says, yes, Beldar. I am from France. Yeah. Yeah, Laura, act and shred. I mean, isn't it something to experience linguistics that way as a Scientologist, to where language is a major bludgeoning tool? Like, that's your weapon. And it's weaponized language. The language is so loaded that when you get properly trained, you can just bludgeon someone with comm, short for communication. I find it interesting to reflect upon. And I've always liked to people watch. So going out, this is part of the reason why they threw me straight into Div 6. And doing observations and shit. Because I like to people watch. I think people are fucking interesting. Conversations you can overhear on the street are interesting. I also experienced that when I got emancipated and I, left home at 16. Like, I spent more time, roaming the streets and hanging out in areas waiting to pick up illicit substances. And you just hear some interesting things. Also, you hear some pretty pertinent information at certain times, like, I probably shouldn't be in this place right now based on the conversation that's going on 5 feet to the right of me. Situational awareness. That's what I call it. It's at times petrifying. It's carnival season here in New Orleans. There's parades going on all the time. I don't think I've been to, maybe I've been to one parade. Cynthia and my friend Ashley go to all the parades. But I get petrified in those situations, and my limbic system just goes haywire, which is essentially like your fight or flight, because I see crime, I see it happening. I see the people, and the problem is they see you too, because they're on high alert because they're committing a crime. And if they see you and you see them, now you're a witness. And I feel like that just makes me a really shitty third wheel to bring along, a bad person to be tagging along, because in my experience, it's actually just better to not to be blissfully ignorant, because there's going to be stuff going on all around you, especially in New Orleans, and just let it happen, I guess, and hope it doesn't happen to you. But that's hard for me to do. Lorna, I was in Div 6 too. What a coincidence. I felt like the cruise director. I can relate. I mean, at Melrose, it was catering to, the second gen of Scientology. And they were accustomed to a certain flow and when it comes to registration cycles and when it comes to being, quote, as they call in Scientology, handled. So yeah, it felt sort of sometimes like you had to present it a certain way, like, okay, we'll go to this place and then we go to this island and then we'll stop there and then you go scuba diving. This is how we would sort of, like, I guess, lay out their program and what we were going to sell them on their bridge. But yeah. Discuss positive initiatives. Shed light on positive initiatives within the community, such as support groups, counseling services, or advocacy efforts. Highlighting constructive activities can contribute to a more positive narrative. Okay. Positive initiatives. Well, I feel like humanizing sharing personal experiences and humanizing discussions and creating empathy is a positive initiative. I believe that everybody has the and should exercise their right to free speech. I mean, I'm speaking publicly. So this is free speech to the degree that YouTube will allow it. When it comes to broadcasting music and freedom of your own intellectual property, I have different ideas than YouTube does, and Warner and Sony and Uni. But that's a different topic. Yeah, everybody's voice is needed. And it's important to I think it's important to remember that, there's times where you'll have. Dave Chappelle said this. There will be times, speaking on adversity and civil rights. There will be times when you have imperfect allies. He was also speaking about the trans community as well. You may have imperfect allies. You may not have anything in common with them, but all the voices add up. They matter. So that would be my takeaway, I guess, or my opinion on the matter. Every single voice that has a story is a human. Is a human being that experienced some shit. So, not everyone experienced Scientology. Some people experience other types of coercive control. Good morning, Tiff. One of the biggest, she says, hey guys, good morning. One of the biggest ways I touch my autoimmune community is through your music, you and Laura Kelly. Thank you. Music is just waveforms. I love music. I might like painting better, but I can't draw for shit. But the medium of music fascinates me. The medium in painting is like, canvas, oils, uh, what do you call that? You make the other paint out of pigments. And that is like a touchable, you can touch it. I can touch a paintbrush. I can put my hands in pigment. I can cover them with oil. And to me, it's like a physical, visible, tangible medium for that art. Painting. Music's medium, I mean, it's a multimedia thing, but I think when you just look at the end product, the medium is time and space. It's waveforms vibrating in time at a specific frequency through space. And I just love that medium. I find it fascinating because it's like dogs can hear up to 40,000 kilohertz. I always wonder like what music dogs like, because I would theorize that it's not the same that humans would like, because they can hear twice as much. They can hear twice as high as we can. So there might be frequencies that we're not hearing in the mixes of the songs that we play that drive dogs absolutely nuts. And that's why if you turn on the radio, they just go lay down. Or maybe there is some music that dogs get excited about. I don't know. But I'm fascinated by the medium. Dave Chappelle is so wise. Well, I guess it would depend on who you ask. I think he's very wise. He's got jester's privilege. Which means he can say almost anything, right? Jester's privilege. But he has definitely pissed some people off in his newest special on right. Jester's privilege is the ability to write, the ability and right of a jester to talk and mock freely. He's really pissed off the trans community a lot, and he even did some like trans jokes. He opened with a trans joke on the new special, which I thought was pretty like, damn, this man really. But after that first joke, he says, "Okay, I'm done. I'm just done. I'm just done fucking with the trans people." So maybe, but I do definitely like there's no doubt he's a wise person. He's experienced a lot. Experience will do that to you. It's how Dungeons and Dragons works too. The more experience, or any video game, the more experience you get, the more skills you have, and the more you understand, the better equipment you can wear, the better everything, really. It's called leveling up. True Clear Media. The products of visual arts are frequencies too. That is absolutely true. But I can't touch my guitar sound coming out of my speaker is what I mean. Like, I can't touch it. What I can do is I can twist knobs and stuff. That's what I meant. But you're absolutely right. It's all light waves. If I'm not mistaken, it's all waves. There used to be, or maybe it still is, people argued and debated light is a particle, but well, let's see. Let's not do what they call verbal tech in Scientology language, which I don't really like speaking, but this is part of the education part. Verbal tech is when somebody says something and you don't have a source for it. And you're warned about verbal tech, and rightfully so, because there is some basis in truth with this. If you just believe what somebody says and you don't verify it, then you're liable to believe it and operate with that false information. It's how wives' tales and stuff happen. Okay, light, wave, or particle argument. I guess argument. I don't know. Yeah. So sometimes this is from West Texas A&M, which is the Aggies, which down here, a lot of Aggie jokes. Light sometimes acts like a wave and sometimes acts like a particle, depending on the situation. I thought that one of these experiments proved that it was a wave, but it's either. Hey, Tish. Good morning. It's Monday, January 22nd, 2024. We're here. Don Rickles, Groucho Marx. Tim, Netflix is making so many comic specials. I miss the old-timey comics that were really funny, not trying to be philosophers. Yeah. I miss, one of the ones that I miss a lot is Sam Kinison. I miss his physical comedy, and he was an intellectual though. But yeah, I know what you mean about the not trying to be philosophers. But I'll also say that jester's privilege is a real thing, and like if you have it, you can use it for whatever the hell you want. So if you want to get philosophical, and you can still make people laugh, then it's a privilege. Laura, message retracted. LRH! Fucking LRH, man. When I started at Baton Rouge and I saw them, basically Nazis saluting a fucking bust of L. Ron Hubbard, I nearly walked out. And I might have been walking out, but Natasha, the Div 6 PES Div 6 CSEC secretary, she was like, "Oh no, it's just out of respect," and I'm like, whatever, y'all can do whatever you want to do. It was, to me, it was like this perverted thing. I was watching everyone in there. I was like, it also reminded me of that Adam Sandler skit on his record where he gets the dude to join a cult, and at the very end of the bit, he's like, "Yeah, I'm really sorry you had to kill your parents, man. That's really fucked up. I didn't mean for this group to get that, to go that far." And he said, "Well, it's like the leader said. It was the only way to set them free." It was just like spine tingling. What's the word? It was bizarre. Hip hip, hooray! And the fucking hands, To me, it looked like it was like Nazi Germany. It was very Nazi-like. Morning, Bach, buddy. Tim Greenglass. It's if it isn't written down, it don't exist. Well, that's something in Scientology. What Laura said. If it isn't written, it isn't true. Or show me the reference. I used to say that a lot because I wanted to be an Esto, Laura. Did you know that? I wanted to be an Esto for the Melrose Mission. Thank you, Amy, for the Gesundheit. The reason I wanted to be an Esto was because I read in all of the OECs that I sold a lot of, that I would thumb through and study because I had so many copies. That was how I was keeping my stats up. I read that to get a booming mission or org, you need a course room full of people, and you can't have a course room full of people if you do not have an Esto. And an Esto has some seniority over some of the, well, quite a bit of the staff, and they're responsible for ensuring the establishment of the policy. They established the policies. And I wanted training for that. They were like, yeah, CSW denied completed staff work. It's your permission slip. Think of if you ever hear CSW in any of the other Scientology stories, the people interviews are like CSW, CSW, CSW. Just think of that as like an extreme permission slip. What I mean by that is like in order to get permission, like it's pretty extreme to get permission to do something like, oh, I want to go, especially if it's like something just personal. They call it first dynamic, something that you would like to do. The third dynamic is pushed really hard, which is the group. I guess this falls under the education part of the ChatGPT instructional guide on how to navigate this broadcasting world in this community. So the third dynamic is something that at the missions that I worked at was hammered into your brain. You don't make any decision not based on the third dynamic. It's always third dynamic, which means what's the greatest good for the greatest number of things? And in your case, your group. So if something's good for you, but not good for Kathy or Tom or Jim or Vicky or Wayne or Travis or Brendan or Trevor or Tammy, whoever, then no, it's not approved. You know, you need to make it work out with the third dynamic for it to be approved. Well, that's impossible because it's something that only I want. I want to go get some ice cream. CSW denied. I want to play some music. CSW denied. How can you make that work with the third dynamic? In other words, if you can't do it with us, you can't do it. I mean, I'm oversimplifying because there are many CSW stories, I'm sure. But yeah. Third dynamic, and this is common but it's codified really well in Scientology. Church groups missed out on a contract. Oh, guy had a contract. He's a contractor. He's going to a church, and he doesn't do something for the group that they wanted him to do, and now one of their rich parishioners who was going to hire them on a contract won't do it because he's just not in the spirit. Well, it's a similar thing to the third dynamic and a CSW being denied. Oh, I have a CSW that I wrote somewhere around here to help Monica move her bed. And Cynthia just thought that was so fucking funny after all the backflash Monica stuff. And it's not a big mystery sandwich anymore because I've disclosed what that was. I don't even remember what broadcast that was on. But yeah, there is a CSW where I have tried, and it really was legit. I was going to help her move her bed so that I could have room to make room for my shit. We all lived in a staff house. Sophia, don't be an individual. Align yourself with the mission statement. In German, Gleichschaltung. Gleichschaltung. I don't know how to say it. Did you bring enough chewing gum for the entire class? Yeah. Yeah, y'all are right. Not approved. Circle jerk or no jerk at all. Tim, when Hubbard says if it's not written, it don't exist, he means no one ever was indicated for chit chat or indicted for chit chat. Okay. Wow. I'm gonna have to marinate on that one. A guy tells a bartender he's an electron. Bar says, don't be negative. I got an Aggie joke. So the Texas Aggies are going over the Sabine River Bridge, and they horribly, sadly, the car goes over the lane and knocks them off the bridge. And all of they had some guys riding in the back of the truck, and they all drowned. They couldn't figure out how to open the tailgate. But Texas Aggie joke there. Nikurasu, what would you have thought if you knew there was a whole house built for LRH waiting for? I knew that. We had a LRH office in our missions. Well, not at Melrose. We had one at Ventura. But Kathy used it. So, yeah, it seems like y'all are getting the idea on the... Yeah, you're grokking loud and clear. Awesome. So, yeah, discuss positive initiatives. Shed light on positive initiatives. I think that... I think that telling stories is the positive initiative. Stories. Because now I feel like Scientology's shrinking so much to a point to where it's going to implode. It's critical mass. So now keep telling stories. I think that's a positive initiative. Keep telling stories. Keep telling your stories. Humanize it. Humanize the people. It helps them to heal tremendously. And when they get any kind of empathy at all, especially if they haven't told their story, my God, it's like getting a hit of dopamine or heroin or something. It really is validating. Because you don't realize how badly you'd been treated, and you get this outpouring of love. It's like the love bomb, but it's real love. So I think the positive initiative is in telling the stories and helping people heal and encouraging people to heal and really my only real main concern with the people leaving or broadcasting or talking about it is like in the community is getting like the self care that is needed. You know, some people don't take breaks and they go, and it can wear on you. So breaks are important. Taking care of yourself is super important. Talking to somebody besides the YouTube is important. Talking to people. Getting some professional advice, you know, if you're having some trouble. Taking care of yourself medically. Those are all really important things they call self-care, which I call badass maintenance. Because everyone that comes and tells their story publicly is a badass. So do your badass maintenance. That's a positive initiative. Oh, I like this one. Avoid sensationalism. Refrain from sensationalizing conflicts or engaging in divisive rhetoric. Instead, emphasize the importance of fostering a supportive environment for individuals who left Scientology to share their experiences without fear of judgment. Some people may have a Scientology experience that is shorter, but was still traumatic. Time doesn't necessarily mean anything. There have been parishioners who were quite happy, and then something happened that traumatized them and they left. But for a long time, they were totally okay. Some people leave and don't speak out because they never had a problem with Scientology. But they may see, and I fit into that camp until 2012. I really didn't see a problem until I saw Going Clear, and all of my suspicions that I would cast away as doubt became real. So every story, no matter how short or how many years, it's important, you know, and it's very easy to you could sensationalize someone who had less experience. You could do that. You could sensationalize it, saying, "Well, if you didn't like that person, if you thought that person was, you know, not going with a certain, let's say they don't have what they call in politics the talking points, the right talking points." And you could criticize someone and have a basis for doing so because of their experience, their amount of time in experience. But avoid it. Avoid the sensationalism. Refrain from sensationalizing conflict or engaging in divisive rhetoric. Emphasize the importance of fostering a supportive community for individuals who've left to share their experiences without fear of judgment. It's super important because people are so sensitive generally to talk about it and afraid to talk about it, that the slightest hint that you may be judging them, and they may disappear for another year, 6 months, year, 2 years, 5 years, or they never tell their story. And that's a real fucking shame, because I think I've thought about that sometimes, like how many people, and I know one person who has retreated, won't talk, probably ever, for the rest of his life. And I would have loved to have heard more and other people need to hear what he had to say. But it won't happen. And by, criticizing and being divisive, or even just using divisive rhetoric, dismissive, being dismissive, that can have a profound effect on someone who is trying to share these very, very difficult to talk about things. I hope that is comprend. So, yeah. And then the other thing is invite diverse perspectives. If you have guests on your broadcast, consider including individuals with diverse perspectives within the community. This can showcase the range of experiences and opinions and contribute to a more balanced discussion. Yeah. I mean, why not have someone who, experienced something completely different from a different culture in a different way, And I would say it's surprising to me, but to me, all that coercive control nonsense is pretty much the same. It takes on different forms, and there's different language, and there's different ways of control. Linguistics is a big part of it, in my view. Linguistics and sort of the uncharted territory of neurolinguistics and neurolinguistic programming, NLP. When you're in a trance state, which can basically be induced by sleep deprivation and food deprivation and sleep deprivation, starvation, and continuous work, having to focus. So, like work, you're expected to focus on something, but you put someone in a position where they have to focus on something, you deprive them of sleep, and they have a terrible diet, you'll end up with someone who's a little loopy, or basically delirious, in a state of delirium. Well, delirium is, what is delirium? Is it a hypnotic state? I don't know. Is delirium a hypnotic pattern? Okay. Delirium is a disturbance of consciousness. It's coming from NIH.gov, and a change in cognition that develops acutely. So, sleep deprivation can cause delirium. And I think that when you reach a certain point with the physical aspects, physical labor, you've got lack of sleep, lack of nutrition, and a lot of physical exertion, and then you follow it up with some very strenuous mental activity, such as 4 to 6 hours of study, or 2 to 4 hours of study of some subject that is designed to to create a paradigm, cookie cutter clone, essentially, then it's hard to wake anyone up, and it might even be hard to be among those that are not awake. I never considered that before, like for a mission holder to basically have a mission full of Scientology zombies and not fall into that themselves, I guess it helps that they get to sleep, or at least our mission holders got to do whatever the hell they wanted. So they got to sleep and eat. I do remember, like, they'd come in with all this not fast food, like this really nice food, and be eating it in front of everybody. It's just like everyone is salivating because we can't afford a damn 99-cent hamburger at McDonald's. Oh, I got a lot in the chat here. I really adore Marco and who's Marco? Polo and Cynthia and their little old lady dog. Oh, nothing but the best for them always. Well, thank you, Tiff. Sophia, I'm pretty sure LRH would go right back to Target 2, having seen the org in my state. It's a dump. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's imploding now. So, like, I think the positive initiative is to keep telling the stories because now I think it's a tipping point. Things definitely feel shifty in that little universe. So, what else we got here? Spelled jerk. I know your name, damn it. Sophie. At Sophie, mine is totally off of a no traffic road. Nothing special at all. Nico Rasu. Never done a bath bomb, but here it's great self care. Yeah, they are. They're great. I love them. Cynthia has a ton of them. She gets them from Box of Goth. I was just thinking about a Paul Harvey style Box of Goth. Hold on, this could be fun, or it could be a train wreck. Let's see here. Write a Paul Harvey promo for Box of Goth bath bombs. That's all the prompt I'm getting. Open with dramatic music. God, Paul Harvey. Oh, man. Let me continue in the comments before I go with that. Not a car around. I like that one. Okay. All right. Barb, this is so important in the civil rights movement. They said, keep your eyes on the prize. I love that. Yeah. Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, keep your eyes on the prize. It's very relevant. Sophia, Tiff, I haven't been there because I'm not interested in visiting that dump of a state capital, but they really look empty and are a byline in the Constitutional Office's report for existing. Okay. I love that sharp tongue. True Clear Media. I feel the experiences of first gen is overtly invalidated by second gen in a sort of trauma Olympics competition. Huh! What a thing to notice. Well, I'm going to read that again. True Clear Media. I feel the experiences of first gen is overtly invalidated, which are loaded language words in Scientology. An overt is something you do to somebody, and you never evaluate or invalidate a person in Scientology. That's a no-no. Which is another way to just cut a boundary. Like, you can't invalidate me. You can't evaluate me. So I feel the experience of first gens is overtly invalidated by second gen in a sort of trauma Olympics competition. Well, maybe there's a freedom medal of trauma to be won or something. I don't know. one of the things in here was, avoid sensationalism. So I know what you're talking about for sure. I'm not going to go into any more detail than that, but you are 100% correct. It happens. Uh, but again, like the example I provided earlier of the friend saying, "I fell off a roof." Well, oh no shit, man, that sucks. I broke my leg one time, and then the third guy comes in and says, "Well, I fell off the Empire State Building and then landed on a window or window cleaning thing, and I had to go to the hospital, and it was worse than both of those things." It happens. It happens. Everywhere. The trauma Olympics are I guess a thing everywhere. Not everyone is trying to be all competitive. Olympic athletes, good ones, are very respectful of anybody who makes it into the Olympics, and it doesn't really matter how, right? Like, they have respect for that. They made it into the fucking Olympics. Holy shit. Like, a good competitor would recognize them. Like, it doesn't really matter. You're in the Olympics. So, like, much respect. But I hear what you're saying, True Clear Media. I do. And it's sad. In any case, in this community or in any community. Tiff and Amy having a conversation. Pete Jensen TV. Work wanted to say, "What up? Take care, Marcus," plus Chad. Hey, Pete. And I guess bye, Pete. Whole rabbit hole. You get set on autopilot for years. Not sure what that was in reference to. Lorna responded to True Clear Media. Yes, I'm the cooler and more relevant than the first gen's routine. You see, there it is again. It's like, Sophia, Tiff, they do have rainbow writing, and they are like through. Okay, y'all are talking about something I'm not sure of. I haven't been catching up, or there was a plot point that I missed. Sophia, you and Selma should hook up. Okay. Tim Greenglass, Lorna, the first gens can seem overly nostalgic for the better times had under Hubbard. Excuse me. It's almost kind of offensive to those that have been traumatized. Yeah, I can see that. Because being raised in it, my friend Adam Guidry was raised in it, and it's different. It is different for second generation when you grow up in it. I wouldn't say it's that much different from in terms of the expectations and limitations and punishments and the whole system that is in place from birth, to traditional and Orthodox Catholic stuff, like Catholic schools. It's not this. They don't do the same things. They don't believe the same things, but they have inherent punishments and inherent things that are inherent abhorrent experiences that many people that I know that went to Catholic school, when people talk about Catholicism, it's like they want you to just shut up. They're like, there's nothing. No. Similarly, I can see, and I have seen how second gen Scientologists, when they talk to first gen Scientologists who may have, quote, discovered L. Ron Hubbard on their own, there was a honeymoon period for their for their in that point of discovery. There was a honeymoon period where they found some truths, and for the second gen, that's all bullshit because they know it's all bullshit. But this is a case by case thing, right? Like you can't generalize it. It's going to be a case by case thing. Bath bombs are really fun. I agree. Sometimes I just, but the glitter and stuff, can't stand getting that all over me. Oh, there's a Witch Baby soap link. There you go. Oh, speaking of the Paul Harvey ad is gonna be so. Paul Harvey was, if you know, you know. Let me get down in the bottom of the chat before I do this, because this is 11:42. Good morning, Belladonna. Cradle Catholic versus converts like me. There you go. Yeah, Cradle Catholic versus someone who joins. Like, someone who is love bombed and ingratiated into it is going to have a more romanticized view of things, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. True Clear Media. I was raised Catholic in a Catholic school. We were indoctrinated and physically abused too. Now, I did only a year in Catholic school because it was so bad. My mom was like, "Oh hell no." They had the rulers with the metal things for our hands and the yardsticks for our legs. These nuns were mean as hell. They made kids pee in their pants, poop their pants. There was physical abuse. 100%. St. Margaret's Catholic School Repository on Enterprise Boulevard in Lake Charles in the 90s. It was pretty brutal, and the way that I got kicked out was brutal too, because I was defending my cousin who was getting beat up by two kids who had parents that were rich parishioners. And when I went to go hit them and was hitting them, the nun grabbed me by my ear and pulled it so hard it busted veins, dragged me by my ear to the principal's office, called my mother and my father, made them leave. Well, my father at the time was retired, and my mother got called in from work. And they sat there and berated me and said that I was a troublemaker and that I was starting fights, and that those kids didn't do anything wrong. And it was around that time where my dad, Collins Dwayne LaFleur, said, and he was very cool about it because this principal was super nasty. Like, she had to be. Like, to be around all those nuns, oh my God, it's like it came through osmosis, the evil. But, yeah, they could only take so much of her talking about me in front of them, like that. And my dad was real cool about it. He was like, "Miss So-and-so, we've heard enough, and we'll be going now." And that was it. Because when she started talking about I wasn't paid up, they weren't paid up for the next 2 years or whatever, and they were trying to basically register me for high school while I was in 4th grade. He was just like, y'all, all y'all care about is the money, and you are protecting these two asshole kids who were beating up my son's cousin, and the nun was watching it and ignoring it. And then when my son went to do the right thing I mean, for God's sake, you're a church, right? You should know right from wrong. When you did the right thing, the nun punished him, and now we're in here, and you're asking me about getting him registered for high school. So, Lord of mercy. Barb, my son got us Indian food. Ooh, hell yeah. That sounds good. Toe problem fixed ASAP. Yeah, should be. I'm super excited about getting my toe fixed, y'all. I can't even express how I'm a jump for joy because I'll be able to kick my bag, the way I used to. Can walk easier probably, but really the kicking. There's certain kind of kicks I can't do because it requires me to bend my toe a certain way and hit it a certain way. Anyways, I'm very excited about getting my toe fixed. Looks like we had a lot of Catholics in here. Now, some of the symbolism in Catholicism I still like very much. I have my ghost beads, and I have my other necklace has my family. It's a family crucifix, and there's like a mold that you can make as many as we want, and I got one of them from my uncle, and I got it right before I went into Scientology, and he gave it to me. He's like, to protect you, and I'm like, okay, because I knew I was going out to California, and it was a nice gesture. It's more symbolism, and I'm very much into the sort of the philosophy of Jesus. Not so much the Bible, not so much the interpretations. What what some of the what I consider to be some of the great philosophers have found, and they go, they get all interested in all the religions, and they go like Alan Watts and I wouldn't necessarily call Terence McKenna a philosopher, but he has some really interesting things to say, and is very thorough. And they're like super nerds on theology. So like I really enjoy their interpretations of history about the teachings of Jesus and Buddha and others. So the symbols are very powerful. True Clear Media. Same here in Theta. I was publicly shamed and berated in front of my peers for hours. See, that's, as a child, that's just so fucked. Even like I said, that day that I got in trouble for fighting, my dad lost a big chunk of his faith in the church. He was still Catholic. He still believed his beliefs. But he did, and this, he started reading about priests and the pedophilia rings and stuff, and he remained Catholic to the day he died, but he condemned the Catholic Church. And that started really when I was in Catholic school. He just had never been exposed to it like that. Like it never was real to him. He thought, he had a different experience, obviously, than I did going to that Catholic school. I don't know why, but Bach Buddy, wasn't just Catholic schools. My generation public teachers used rulers, pointers, and even small boat oars. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Explore common ground, invite diverse perspectives. See, I would argue that, this Scientology thing and this you know, it's everywhere. Scientology has its own set of things. It's every coercive control group. You end up dealing with the same things. Mr. Riddle had a boat or persuader as a paddle, right? I now that you mention it, Mr. Richardson had a paddle too. It never left the top. It was above the chalkboard, but it never left the chalkboard. Maybe that was because we were a younger class. Maybe he taught fourth or third and fifth grade. So maybe that was for the fifth graders. And in middle school, yeah, we had Bubby Soche. He had a paddle with a bunch of holes drilled in it so that he could really whack. Lorna, I noticed you had a crucifix when on piano. I love Catholic symbolism, mysticism, candles, incense, and singing in Latin, and being open to miracles. Yeah, me too. My mother, my mother doesn't step foot into churches. I'd say she's she's like a Catholic mystic, I guess. She's a believer, and what I see in that's beautiful is that it's like it gives her peace of mind. It's a choice that she makes to believe, and she chooses to believe that there are angels watching over me and all of her children, and that her ultimate rock in life is Jesus Christ. And I think I think it's beautiful. I do. Because I have known my mother for a long time. And I've seen her go through so much stuff. And I've seen, contrary to joining a religion that says it's going to help you, I've seen religious beliefs and or symbolism actually help her without having to get involved with any religion whatsoever. So I think it's pretty cool, and it's it also reminds me of my family. It reminds me of my father, my mother, my grandfather. These symbols, and my ancestors. So, caveman, so good to see y'all. You too. Sophia, I don't have a problem with the general idea of it, just with the institutional side. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying. When I went to catechism and I got humiliated and spanked and then sent to the priest who wanted to do God knows what with me, and I told my mom about the experience, because basically the priest said that if I didn't do what he wanted me to do, then God would send me to hell or something like that. I mean, that's the way I thought about it in my mind. And my mother took me out of catechism after that. Because I asked her, I was like, is God going to send me to hell? And she said, who told you that? And when I told her the priest, she got really mad, and then she took a deep breath and she was like, the only person that you need to worry about in regards to your relationship with God is you. If you feel love in your heart, that's God. That's and nobody else can take that away from you. No one can take that love out of you. In her words, because God put it there. So that was a big relief for me to hear. And it was also a big relief to not have to go back to catechism. Because there was a really mean teacher. So I ended up in the priest's office. And, oh, that's creepy to think about. So, confuses me to have to ability to commit for life. That's a huge commitment. I'm not sure what. Are you talking about nuns and stuff? I don't know. You have a Celtic cross on your spine, Sophia? That's cool. Caveman, I had a Christian boyfriend who told me the same thing, that I was breaking God's will when I broke up with him. I haven't dated a Christian since. Well, there you go. Usually Christians are, like if you're saying I'm a Christian, well, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're crazy, but you know, like what was it Lorna that said the Christian mystics? Um, yeah, like my mother does not bring up God or she doesn't bring it up to people. She doesn't because she's not really. I'm not gonna say she can't be judgy. She's a human being, and she has children, so she can do plenty of judging and has plenty of judgments, but in general, like towards other people, her friends, her family. Again, family can be different, especially when you come from a large Catholic family. Um, yeah, she does not judge people like, and it's just not like, oh, that's not Christ-like, or that's not, no, it's nothing like that. But some people can be like that. That's pretty crazy. Um, well, I guess you're fucked then, huh, caveman? Like you broke God's will. Eternal damnation for you. All right, I'm going to read this Paul Harvey ad that GPT came up with for Box of Goth. I'm going to try to read it Paul Harvey style. All right. Opening with dramatic music. The only prompt I gave it was write a Paul Harvey promo for Box of Goth bath bombs. It requires dramatic music, so let me find something because that's what it said to do. I, for one, welcome our robot overlords. Dramatic music. Let's just do this one. See how that works. Yeah, okay. I need one probably a little longer. There we go. This isn't really dramatic, but alright. And now, for a tale that unfolds in the mysterious realms of relaxation and indulgence. Picture this: a box filled with enchantment, a treasure trove of dark delights that will transform your bath into a gothic oasis. It's not just any box. It's the Box of Goth bath bombs. Within this box, you'll discover an array of bath bombs that go beyond the ordinary. Immerse yourself in the soothing embrace of scents like midnight rose, wicked lavender, and obsidian eucalyptus. Each bath bomb holds the power to transport you to a world where shadows dance and tranquility reigns. sound of a fizzing bath bomb. But it's not just about the scents. It's about the spectacle. Drop one of these mysterious orbs into your bath water and watch it as it fizzles and swirls, releasing its enchanting essence. It's a sensory journey that transcends the ordinary, turning your bath into a ritual of relaxation and luxury. Close your eyes and let the box of goth bath bombs take you on a voyage to the other side. A place where the stresses of the day melt away and you're left with nothing but the indulgent embrace of darkness. So, my friends, if you're ready to elevate your bath time to a realm of gothic opulence, look no further than the box of goth bath bombs. Because sometimes, in the quiet moments, the most extraordinary stories unfold. And now you know the rest of the story. Good day